we're back. Let's see. So it's our last one was on Friday. No, we had Carl Reed on.
Carl Reed was last Thursday, so we're
that
over
was
a
last
week.
Thursday. Okay. Yep. Last Thursday. That's right. Great reception from that podcast.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to hear what he's thinking.
Really good stuff. Today we're going to talk to Coach Ramsey, head coach, SUNY Maritime College. He was a coach at head coach at Nassau Community, which has been known to put out player after player after player at the Division I level and FCS level. He's one of the rising young stars in the coaching industry. So
awesome.
Can't wait to talk to him. Really cover what it's like to take over a program and inject new spirit and new blood into it and really start to rise that program. So without further ado, let's bring on Coach Ramsey. Coach, how's everything going?
Everything is good, man. Thank you guys for having me on your show, your platform. It means a lot to me to be invited to such a thing, and I'm excited to get it going.
Coach, it's exciting to have you on. You're new head coach at SUNY Maritime, and it's a SUNY school, which is a good thing. That's a good thing. You've got the SUNY system behind it, well, Derek in particular, but I, as obviously a longtime coach and follower of college football, SUNY is really starting to go up the radar in the football worlds, right? With the success that they had last year, winning one of the SUNY schools winning the national championship at SUNY Cortland, and I know there's SUNY Brockport, and then obviously SUNY Maritime, and they're all trying to really upgrade their football programs and really go to the next level. Obviously, one of those is hiring you. Talk about what was kind of, first of all, your background in coaching and as a player, and talk about that, and then what led you to SUNY Maritime.
Yeah, no doubt. So from a player standpoint, I'm from Long Island. I played high school ball at Sewanaka High School, which is, in Floral Park, New York. Had a really good career there, played multiple sports, but football was the focus for me after graduating high school. Ended up going down to Virginia State for a semester. When I went down there, it was more or less the school that wanted me at the time, and I really was excited to be in the South when it came to playing football. Even at the Division II level, I thought the intensity and the level of focus was going to be greater than I've seen, and it was. Little things happened with the family, and I ended up transferring back home to LIU Post, or CW Post at the time, I should say CW Post.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And I'm a CW Post guy, but Coach Collins, God rest his soul, he gave me a great opportunity to come home to play in front of my family, and really, really learned a lot under that tutelage. Have a great amount of friendships and a lot of coaches that really guided me into learning a lot more about the sport of football. So I played my 4 years there as a defensive back. I had a really good, in my opinion, career. I had Coach Gill, who was also one of my big mentors, kind of guide me through my playing career. But when I was over and done with playing, I decided, I went to Coach Collins' office, and I was like, I'm not really done with this sport. I think I really want to coach. And he gave me the opportunity. He allowed me to be a part of the staff. I was a receivers assistant and also the video coordinator, which for any new coach, if you really are trying to get into this thing,
that's it.
The video coordinating spot is where you want to be. So I learned a lot about cutting film, and this is before Huddle and all the other streaming services. It was DVDs and USB drives and long nights in the office. But from there, I had an opportunity to coach some high school ball for a little bit. So I did that. Ended up back at Post for a year. We went on a really, really good run that year. I think it was 2015 or 16. And we went undefeated. We did a really nice job. And then the Nassau job opened up. And because I was a local guy, I was on the younger side. There were two coaches that were from Post that were on the Nassau staff that I really, really admired and liked a lot. So I fell in line, took that on, and we made a really good run. We had a really good, 6-7 year stint, had a really good opportunity to meet a lot of great young talent, restructure, re-guide, and get these guys back out to these levels of football where they play now. And some of them are either in the NFL in minicamp right now or in the CFL playing some ball. And then this opportunity kind of opened up. And I was excited about it. I'm really excited to still be here and try to figure this thing out and build this thing up and kind of take it to where I believe it can go. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. We're at the beginning stages of a build out for what I believe can be something powerful here at SUNY Maritime.
Talk about your time at Nassau. You guys went to the national championship game, I believe, right?
Yes.
And some of the things that you learned, like kind of in the recruiting process there, being in JUCO versus now coming into, being at Division III State University.
Yeah, I learned everything at Nassau. I tell the guys and my AD and even the assistant coaches that I retained from last year, Nassau single-handedly taught me everything that I feel I need to know when it comes to college ball. It's a really, really interesting spot to be in because you have to recruit in from freshmen or transfers or transfer portal, and then you have to recruit out to get the kids back into the schools in which they desire to be at. So there's so many things between eligibility rules, the 4-2-4 rule, credit rule. There's just different layers that you have to kind of learn and understand how to get these young athletes back into the position of where they want to be. The national championship game, unfortunately, we didn't win that one, but that year was a great year for the program. It was an experience for me, especially because we were this close to taking it, and we went up very, very late in the game, and a penalty here, and then a big play there, and we unfortunately didn't come up victorious in that. But that entire process of me being in that situation has really prepared me, I feel, to be ready to go in this new role that I'm sitting in.
Coming to SUNY Maritime, was this so? Had you applied for head coaches at the four-year school level before? You had, okay, and so what was it that really kind of brought you to SUNY Maritime that you thought this would be a great place for me to be at?
Well, I said this in my interview process when the AD had brought me in. I had applied for the job in 2019 at SUNY Maritime. I didn't even get an interview, which I understand the process. I know, I was still on the younger end of things as coaching, and this is something that I want to share with young coaches, right? Never be discouraged if your name or your resume or what you've done so far hasn't been, looked at in a way in which you believe you should be, right? Just go back to work, go back and dig back in, because obviously there's some more things that you need to do in order to be ready for this spot. So I went back and I learned how to, my coaches, right? So my coaching staff at Nassau always would change as well, right? Because these are young coaches, right? We don't pay a whole lot. It's a junior college. A lot of coaches use it to springboard to the next level. So I lost probably two of my best coaches in that year of 2019. One guy, both of them at Ohio State right now. So Sean Banks is GAing with tight ends at Ohio State. Mike Seleni, he was just best 30 under 30 coach, QA at Ohio State. So I went back after 2019 and I had to bring in younger guys or older guys and try to redo this thing again to get back into a decent standing. And we were able to go back into that natty and unfortunately, like I said, didn't really turn out to be the way that we wanted. But there's so much, man, that you learn, that I've learned. And for me to be in this position now, the reason why I felt like it was something that was right for me, one, I'm local, right? I'm a Long Island guy, so I understand the importance of recruiting. At Nassau, we were a non-scholarship junior college, so that was also something that I felt really comfortable doing. Like I can go and recruit kids. I've recruited thousands of kids over the years without being able to really offer any financial assistance.
Yeah, you've done it with nothing.
But nothing, right? We didn't have any housing at Nassau, so there's a lot of things.
Like you're talking about really working with very little
shoestring,
and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but like also being a JUCO guy, right? As a coach, like you don't have many of the amenities that even a D3 program has, right? So like you said, like you're the head coach, but you're also, dude, you're the equipment coordinator, right? You're the guy that's like, you're taking you're the recruiting guy, you're handling the academic part of it. Like, you're wearing all those hats, which I'm sure has led to now, being out of Division III, wow, I have all these other things that now I can, like, if I've done this with nothing up until this point, now you give me some more resources, like, we can really start to turn this thing around.
I'm excited. And that's kind of where it was. It's like, I know and I feel fairly confident in the abilities to go out there and, like you said, get the kids in, recruit the kids, understand that obviously at Nassau, even though we didn't have money or housing or meal plans, et cetera, what we did have was the opportunity for these athletes to hopefully get to where they wanted to be. And 90% of the time we were able to deliver on that end. But at this institution where I'm at now, one, academically, it's a strong academic school, right? Job placement, we have 100% job placement, not 99. We're known to have 100% job placement, right? The majors in which we have is such a niche market where the kids are going to be graduating, earning six figures, right? So these are all the things from the recruiting standpoint that I feel fairly confident going into homes and going into schools and having conversation with kids to always start off with leading with the academia first. These are the things that we're going to do academically. And then the easier part is like, this is the fun that we're going to have on the football field. This is the culture that's going to be put together. This is the things that are going to be, almost demanded of you for the success that we're going to have on the field. But understanding that if we have that culture building in the tradition of what this school institution is about, I know for a fact that the success will come.
Yeah, it's interesting place too, because so do all the students and kind of clear this up a little bit. Maritime College, obviously seabearing, learning skills around that, and is that the majority of the athletes that you're recruiting? Or are you recruiting? What kind of programs does the school offer? Or is it focused mostly on that? Because I think that's a question that a lot of athletes probably have when they're looking at SUNY Maritime.
Right.
Correct. We have like regimental, like reg kids, which are the ones that, will get their shipping license and they will be at sea. And then we have a layer of civilian kids, which if you want to come and learn and be an engineer, or if you want to go into ITT trade, which is like international business trade, we have those layers as well. Traditionally, and I'm definitely of the tradition, I know that when the kids come in and if they take part of the reg, the outcome of job placement and the things that come along with being in the regimental may make things a lot easier to find the jobs that are out there. But there's not it's not mandated. It's not like, in the Army where you have to do years and then you have to go to service. It's really a choice by the parent and the kids. Obviously for me as a coach, like I said, I enjoy to have both. Either one works for me, but the regimental kids traditionally for job placement and being able to go into certain areas, I think it adds a little bit more of a benefit to the student athletes when they decide to go that route.
Very cool. So where is SUNY Maritime located exactly? And like, so, because I'm not completely, I'm assuming it's over along the water. But where is it located? What's the scene like on campus there? What's the atmosphere like for an athlete?
It's definitely, they call it like the hidden gem, and it really is. So it's literally right over the Throsneck on the Bronx side of the water. It's a peninsula, so it's surrounded by the water, right? We have a nice water view of everything, every building, every spot, every office space. You're either going to be inside but looking out at the water, or outside walking around surrounded by the water. So one thing about water, in my opinion, you're always in a good mood. Right?
Yes.
Very hard.
Yeah. Listen, you don't have to tell us. We're both North Jersey guys that came pseudo down the shore down here, Jersey wise. So you don't have to talk about water when it comes up.
Dude, water makes everything great. Man, I've been here. I got to be honest. I don't think I've had a bad day.
That's it.
It's awesome. But outside of that, our football field, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous. You see both the bridge. You see all the bridges in New York. You see the Throsneck Bridge. You got the bridges in Manhattan. You can see it from a stone's throw. You see the skyline for the city. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. The kids are the best. All right. This is probably some of the best students I've been around in my entire collegiate career. Respectful, so nice, generosity's there. They speak very nicely to each other. It is an absolute like dream of mine to kind of just be in this environment. Faculty and staff also equally awesome. It's a really, really cool community. And we're trying to do our best to have our camps on campus this year in the summer to just show people what we have to offer.
Right.
Because like you guys said, when it comes to the SUNY system, like Cortland and like Brockport, one of the things that I know I lost a lot of kids to at Nassau was the facilities. These kids go to these facilities, they look around, they go, dang, this is the D3 SUNY school? Like, holy crap, I'm not going to pay, 90 grand a year to go to school here. I can be in state and I get access to all of this stuff. So to answer your question, man, the environment here, the community here, the atmosphere, the student involvement, I don't have one thing to say bad about it. I think everything here for the most, it's awesome.
That's incredible. And you're very close to New York City too, which has got to be an appeal for a lot of the kids. So they get to have that atmosphere where they're on the water. Obviously the students that are a part of the regimented crew, that group, it's a perfect fit. But they also have access to all the great things that you have with New York City too, which is I think a really unique situation to have a football program that has access to that, and really, because there's not that many programs in the New York City area, right? There's Columbia and there's there's really
maybe Wagner, right?
Columbia,
Wagner, Staten Island, right? So
yeah,
but really,
city, my fault.
Right. Closer, really within earshot of Manhattan.
Yeah, Fordham,
so,
right?
Yeah.
That's really kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So it's really, really cool. Talk about the kind of student athlete that you're looking for at SUNY Maritime. What's the kind of athlete, the kind of student athlete that you're looking for that would be a good fit for you guys there?
Yeah, well, the first thing is going to be someone that's strong academics, right? Because we are a strong academic school, and we only have but so many majors that they can really take into, right? So we have engineering, we have environmental science, we have international business and trade. But what I'm looking for from the student athlete is to make sure that they are dedicated to the program, that they are selfless individuals, that they understand the sacrifice that's necessary to play college ball. That they're great locker room guys, right? The locker room to me is so important. And I think this year, I know that this year coming into this situation, these groups of seniors that I have on this team, they're awesome locker room dudes, right? They look after each other, they talk to each other, they uplift each other. But those are the characteristics and the qualifications that I'm looking for when it comes to bringing new student athletes in here. I want to make sure, one, you're academically savvy and you're sound. You understand the importance of education. The second thing is I want to make sure that you are a great person in that locker room. You are a selfless individual. You love football, right? Because college football is not like high school football. I don't care what level you play in college, all right? Division 1, 2, 3, JUCO. You got to love this. You got to be passionate. You have to have a desire. You have to understand that there are going to be sacrifices when it comes to this game, and you got to be willing to make them. Right? I want honest individuals, right? No matter if the situation doesn't work out well for you, honestly talk to me, honestly have a conversation, and we'll figure it out. All right. And I want guys that are willing to learn, they're willing to be coachable, they're willing to grow within the program. Right? And then from the opposite side of that, coaches wise, I'm looking for the same thing out of my coaches. Right? I want coaches that understand that embodying an athlete, giving them the best experience possible while they're here for 4 years, is our number one goal.
It's amazing to me. So you're in a conference with some really, really good academic schools, and that's the atmosphere. That's a part of it, obviously, as well as competing against some other schools that are maritime based. What as far as from a recruiting standpoint, and when you're going out and looking to recruit prospects, what do you have to kind of do to get guys on campus? What are some of the things that you're trying to do that's different, that's getting players to come there? Because today's landscape, you've got, and you probably experience this when you go to maybe like a mega camp as a looking at prospects. D3 has become harder than ever to convince kids to go to. And it doesn't have anything to do with football as per se. It has to do with that everybody, in some cases, has delusional dreams of being a scholarship prospect. How do you kind of handle that process from a recruiting standpoint, where every kid now and every one of their parents thinks that their kid is maybe a higher level in D3, and when they come to you, like what are you looking to really let them understand and know within your world of football?
Yeah, understandable. One, you are right to say that sometimes the young athletes do have the delusion where they feel like they're going to be better than, and we're not going to be most of the kids' first options, right? All right, so let's just go back a little bit from what I did in my past. Same thing in JUCO.
Right.
You're no first option as a junior college coach, right?
There is not guys coming out here saying, hey, man, like maybe a couple years ago when they were about to be on Netflix specials and stuff, they wanted to go JUCO. But listen, I don't know if anybody comes out and says, hey, man, I'm going to Nassau Community. Like, that's my number one choice. And here's the hat I'm wearing.
Right.
It's just not the world we're living in.
So that's not necessarily the reality. But here's the deal. How we go about it, right? As I said, what's the number one thing that's most important? The academics. So let's go out here and let's talk about what we offer these young athletes as an academia place, all right? And if you're talking to someone's parent, which 90% of the time when you're doing your early recruiting with high school, parent involvement's very much there. And I can sit there and tell you that you're going to get an ROI. You're going to get a return on your investment. All right, your tuition cost is going to be state level tuition costs, especially if you're in state or in region. Okay, here's what it's going to cost you to go here. Here's what you're going to have to financially take on. All right, now that might get the ears to perk up a little bit. Right now, I got your attention. I understand exactly. Let's not even talk about committing to the program yet. Let's just get you on campus. Let's come to a home game. Let's get the environment. Let's understand exactly what the culture is about. Understand that if you do come here, you're going to get a coach that's not only going to embody you as an athlete. I'm going to make sure that you are taken care of academically, you're taking care of business, and then on the mental half, the mental half of the game, we're going to talk and make sure that you're in a good space every single week. All right, so that's the layer two, and then when it comes to ball, I really do feel confident with what we're doing here, coaches wise and play wise, et cetera, just the structure of the operations. Even though we're a Division III school, we're going to run it like a Division I, Division II program, right? You're going to have those same advantages, right? Not same facilities per se, but close enough, right? You're going to have weight room, you're going to have study hall, you're going to have practices, you're going to have film, you're going to be held to all the things that you would be held to if you were to have that opportunity, right? And then the next piece is, look, let's say you get a PWO to go play at whatever school. Are you going to get on the field? Are you going to play within your first 2 or 3 years? Or do you want to come here and have an opportunity, a real opportunity, to go out here and be an athlete at the collegiate level? Right.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And is it are most of the, because it is a SUNY school, are most of the players New York players that come to, or do you get and this is just my curiosity, do you get players from out of state that want to come to SUNY schools? Because I'm kind of thinking like, okay, I'm a prospect that maybe was interested in Navy or West Point, right? But maybe Navy or West Point didn't think I was good enough, right? But this gives me that similar atmosphere and that similar opportunity, and get to play good ball as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, right now, based off what we've done, and mind you, I got the job late in the spring,
right.
So most of the 2024 recruiting was underway.
Right. Yeah, you're really kind of just like jumping in, like, hey, man, like, we gotta get ready for the seat. Like, camp's coming, like
exactly.
You haven't even had time to, I'm gonna come to this mega camp so I can, watch these guys. Or, I mean, your board is like, this is what it is, and this is what we're working with.
Yeah, believe it or not, we have been at the mega camps. Like I went down to Charlotte 2 weeks ago to look at that region a little bit. We were at LIU yesterday. We were at Wagner yesterday. We were, up at Fordham. We have one coming up here in July. So we've been bumping and moving around for 2025. But yes, to speak to your point, the majority of the roster right now is New York based, right? Because we are a SUNY school. But we also have this thing called in region, where if you don't have a maritime school in your state, you can come to us, and it's a different price rate. It's not out of state.
Wow, that's great.
That's nice. That's a little something. That
so like New Jersey would be an example of that, right?
Connecticut. Yeah, because we don't have anything.
Connecticut. Okay.
New Jersey as well, right? I know in the past before Mickey, I know Clayton, he did some stuff down in Florida. He did some stuff down in Louisiana, like the schools those coastlines that have these ports that are into the stuff, but maybe don't have the academia or the institution to support it.
Right.
So those are the things that, in the very near future, I will, entertain. I will check to see exactly what the value would be for me to be able to make those kind of connections and be able to bring up. But within the SUNY system, and it's something I took pride in at Nassau, and I don't know if it was something that I learned at Post, but for when we're at Post, our roster, man, we were New Yorkers, right, through and through, and we would go down there and we would just go to work, right. So I definitely have a definite spot in my heart to make sure that I keep to that to a certain extent, but at the same time, we want to make sure we offer the opportunity to those that are really interested in being a part of the program.
But yeah, very interesting. That's right. Because CW Post was always a power. I still call it CW Post. Listen. I know it's LIU Post, but like it's
a little bit of a rough change color.
It's always CW Post, dude. They were such a powerhouse. They were a big powerhouse at
Division Two. CW Post was like
they were a powerhouse program. As for as long as I can remember, and now. They're now the
LIU Sharks,
right? But what were you guys with not Pioneers.
Pioneers,
yeah. Oh, they were the Pioneers. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Well, listen, that's how we made the connection was, Coach Jackson down West Virginia, D-line who we had on, he was a Post guy. And, through conversations, he said, hey, you might want to talk to Coach Ramsey, who now just took over this, great opportunity. But listen, those guys, dude, they're still.
Was John Sippett there when you played there? Or was he before you?
John who?
Was Sippett there before? Tight end? Big tight end?
I think he was there.
He might have been there a couple years before you. Yeah.
Listen, Coach Jacks, man, he's still like green and gold, dude, or yellow or whatever the hell it was, dude. He's like. That's it.
Yeah.
Look, I know that was a weird color change, but look, I mean, I don't know how you go from green and yellow to now like
the blue.
Baby blue and woo, that's a lot of extra paint, man.
Yeah. I was up there yesterday at the camp. I was walking around. I'm like, holy crap, man!
This ain't even close.
Did they move? Did they move? Because I know it merged with LIU or Brooklyn, right? So did they all more? LIU Brooklyn basketball was still at Brooklyn, and Post football was still up. Is everybody at now the Post area, or are they still?
No. So the indoor sports for the most part are in Brooklyn. The outdoor sports are at Post. So football, baseball.
So you almost still kind of have pseudo two campus,
Correct. But the other thing is people don't realize that the Brooklyn campus was Division I.
Yes.
Right. So when the merger took place, it really was like an easier thing, I guess. Financially made a little bit more sense. I don't necessarily know the ins and outs of it.
Right.
I'm not going to share my opinion on it because I don't think it's good.
You're good.
But
interesting. But it's one of the interesting things I always thought in college football. You're right, because LAU basketball was Division I. Actually, LAU basketball, going back to the old days, like the 50s and 60s, that was one of the original power. When you had St. John's, you had actually NYU used to be Division I. The CCNY used to be Division I. All the schools used to be. All of them were Division I.
It was the same thing when I was at Sacred Heart.
One of the powerhouses. Yeah.
Same thing at Sacred Heart. We were division, 1 AA football, but basketball was 1A in the NEC. So you won the NEC, you got a bid to the tourney, right? And
I
that
think
was
Sacred
like
Heart was originally a D2 before they went to that conference. They probably were. I think they were a D2 football school that
and
upgraded.
even when we were a FCS, right, or a 1 AA, we were 1 AA mid-major, right? So it was like non-scholarship, like we're playing scholarship teams, but they weren't scholarship,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just a weird,
It's
thing
a
to work
different,
out.
What kind of system are you guys running on offense and defense? Have you kind of started putting together what the philosophy is there yet? Can you?
Hey, nice.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough.
I got to
Fair
go
enough.
1-0 each week, man. I'm not giving anyone a leg up. We're gonna run something. It's gonna look good.
Do you now one thing for obviously we talked about assistant coaches and that and that type of thing. Did you bring some guys with you? Did you retain some guys? It is a mix and match. I know you talked about kind of the things that you look for in assistant coaches and whatnot.
Yeah.
And as a D3 player, like I understand like what my coaches put into it because a lot of them were rushing out of their high schools to come, coach ball like for us. You know what I mean? So I kind of understand it. But if you could explain a little bit of that kind of, what do you have going staff wise?
So we did retain. I retained a decent amount of guys that were on the previous staff, and I also brought in a decent amount as well. So it's almost like a complete merger of two. I brought in Coach King from Stony Brook. He was a running backs coach at Stony Brook. He'll be doing defense. Omar King, great dude.
Yeah.
He was
Just Penn State.
No, he was at Iona. He was at Rhode Island, and he finished his last, I want to say 8 to 10 years. He was under Chuck. He was with AJ too. He used to coach with Andrew Jackson when AJ was at Stony Brook.
Because I'm like, dude, that sounds so familiar to me.
Yeah, great dude.
Maybe it's just because I see him pop up so much through what we do, right? But absolutely, that's a great hire.
Yeah, great dude. Great
off
person.
The field, recruiting wise, like he was a dog.
He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal recruiter. Zach Sterling, who was on the staff last year here at Maritime, has a real good knack for the game. Really, football IQ is solid. He's the O-line. He's going to do the O-line, and he helps with the recruiting, strength and conditioning. He has a really good piece here, and he had a lot of value. So I'm happy we were able to kind of keep that in rock and roll there. I brought in Jason Kalman to help with the linebackers, who's was with me at Post when I was there for those years. Also, when the Post transitioned to D1, he was underneath Coach Collins and also Coach Gill, as Coach Gill took on the interim job. I kept Tom Lindley to be the defensive coordinator. He was a Wagner grad, played O-line at Wagner. Really, really good guy, good with the kids. And that's the thing that's most important. I shouldn't say kids, good with the young men. They have some of the guys that I kept from the staff previously have such a great relationship with the young men that outside of just being good people, I'm very happy and fortunate to keep them. I think that's also very important with any kind of transition that takes place. I know that naturally speaking, sometimes when new coaches come in, they bring everybody with them, and that there's definitely value there as well. But for me in this situation, because it's such a unique spot and a unique space, and the timeline of when I was hired, I'm very, very happy that for right now we've really got a nice groove in the office.
Right.
And everyone's working with each other and it's stable and it's consistent. That the routine, all these things that are important, and also because this place is so different than most colleges, I have guys that know, hey, no, the Reg is going to be doing this today. We got to go over here today. Nope, don't practice at that time. That's not going to work.
Yep. The ins and the outs of the actual, like, what goes on at this school, right? Like, and even for you, coming from JUCO to D3, like there were going to be certain things that, look, I'm sure you do your homework and all that stuff, but just to have somebody that's been there, been in it, can now say, hey, coach, like, we got to do this way, or hey, this is a bet, like maybe we should go this route, like just to know the ins and the outs. Also got to be a little bit of a comfort for you that you can, bounce that stuff off of them and be like, look, guys, like, what do you think? Or, hey, is this the best way to do that? That's got to be a little bit of definitely a help.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, if they've earned themselves their rights, right? They understand what I'm looking for. They all have good football knowledge. They've been in the game for X amount of times. So I'm over the moon with the opportunity to be able to, like I said, bring in the guys that I felt I need to have to kind of help me lay down some of the traditional and cultural things that I want to see for the program to move the way it wants to be. But also, as Coach Collins, God rest his soul, when I took over the Nassau program, one of the things that he told me, he said, listen, you make sure that you embody tradition, right? You embody the tradition of the program, of the school. You embody that. And then you lay your foundation within the tradition of the program. And I think that's important. And I also am a firm believer that X's and O's don't win football games, that culture wins football games. So I am going to establish a culture that I know that's been proven to have success. Now, I would love early success, instant success. I want to go out there and get it done right away.
Right.
But I also know that sometimes things take time and it takes a process. So I'm willing to be able to work through those things. I feel like I have a leg up, though, because I'm not starting at the bare bones of what it is. Like, we have a good foundation. They won 5 games last year. They won 500. We have great seniors. So I'm just trying to just step and roll, like hit the ground running, give these guys exactly some of the things that I saw to be the problematic things that needed to be kind of tweaked during spring, and then just push it into play. So that way, when we get out there first game, you know, what I envision is actually what's being seen out there when they play.
Well, I noticed you have a lot of guys that either are from New York, coach in New York, or played in New York that are on your staff. And so they understand, I think, the landscape probably pretty well of New York football, because either play, you know, I know you know guys from Hofstra, Wagner, Stony Brook you just hired, right? So they kind of understand. Was that a kind of concerted effort from your standpoint to really have some New York guys really come apart to be a part of the program?
Yeah, I think that's most important, man, especially if you're in the area and you're recruiting as a non-scholarship program. You kind of need to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You kind of need to know where to go to get the guys, and where not to, right? Obviously, like I said, we're going to try to stretch and cast a wide net to get out-of-state, you know, involvement, which we'll do. But we're a SUNY school, so within that SUNY system, we need to understand what that means. So having guys as an extension of myself to go out there and properly recruit the student population that we need, I think is very important. And on top of that, you know how the game of football goes when it comes to coaches, man. It's like, I know this guy, I work with this guy, and know what he's going to do. Oh, dang, that's going to make my job a lot easier, right? So
Hell yeah. It's all, listen, how many jobs, like, you know, we don't get jobs unless we know somebody or somebody knows somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, you got to be qualified.
And, you know, it's just kind of, it's just, look,
Familiarity.
if it's right, it's right. If it's, you know, indifferent, it is what it is. But that's the way you do it, man. Like, you know, if I'm taking over a program,
you know your expectation. You know,
100%. I want to be with like-minded guys, but, you know, guys I know, guys I trust, you know, guys that are, you know, I don't want yes men, right? Like, I want guys that are, you know, going to do it the right way. But I also want guys that know what the hell they're talking about and can definitely 100% know the area that they're going to recruit. Like, that's pivotal.
100%. And I think also, like you said, like being able to have the voice echo throughout the program is important. So if I'm not there, I know that, hey, if you did this, the response should be around these lines of what the corrections need to be. I don't want to come into a situation where that's not what I believe, and that's not anywhere close to what I think would be appropriate to address that situation. Now I got to do double the work to fix the mess that's been made. But when you have guys, one, they have to be qualified to coach the game, right? That's the obvious.
The bare, that's the baseline.
That's the minimum. But then when you get guys that understand what you are about, what your culture is about, where you stand on just building out the young men to play the game the right way, it just makes my job easy. Now I can go and focus on some other things that can hopefully help up and build and bring it up.
My guess too is that you're not with stuff like the transfer portal, not a huge effect in your guys' program because of the type of student athlete that you're looking for really has to kind of be committed to that kind of a school. And I think that's probably a pro for you, where you could really get guys and develop guys and have to worry less about someone transferring out or someone going somewhere else. Talk about that part of it, and because I think that's an important thing for parents to understand. Like, how does that? Obviously, NIL is probably not a concern, but transfer portal is something. How does that work within your recruiting philosophies and what you guys will be doing going forward there?
Yeah, so I had this conversation with Coach Fitzpatrick at SUNY Cortland before I started the interview process here at Maritime. And I said to him, I said, one of the reasons that I really want to coach this level of ball is because, and this is just my opinion, so if someone's upset about me saying this,
don't worry, bro. We pissed off enough people on our own, the two of us, dude, so you're good.
So I feel like it's the purest level of collegiate sport left. I feel like the athletes that are here for all the right reasons when it comes to what I envision collegiate sport to be. They're willing to go through the fire a little bit more and learn and try to work towards getting better for 4 years rather than this is uncomfortable or this shoe's not really fully fitting just yet. Let me go. I feel like that's not something that's prevalent here at this level, right? I think that there's still some value when it comes to building out a program properly, but also the family aspect of sport is also, it's able to be kind of worked on, right? As far as the NIL stuff, there's nothing there, so there's nothing to really go into.
Hey, one less
unless you're giving deals for 10% off the Maritime store,
Yeah, we got
that might be the deal. We get you 10% cut on the Maritime store. There you go. I got you guys their first deal.
Yeah, there's nothing there. So that's
one less thing, Coach.
One less thing to worry about.
Absolutely.
But we get to football, man. We get to college ball.
Absolutely.
I played in an arena league for a few years, after I played some college, after I finished my college career. And, one of the things that I very much remember was just like the feel of the locker room. Like, this is a business. Like, yeah, I'm going to grind it out. I'm going to play hard. I'm going to have fun doing it. But, like, they don't really care about what's going on.
Nobody cares what's going on.
Right?
Nobody gives a shit.
So I don't want to have that kind of a feel. I want to be able to be in an environment where they know we care because we care and we care, right? So it's like, and they care about us and vice versa. They care about each other, and it's just, that's what I like. That's what I loved about college ball. That's what I hope to continue to build out on. And I don't know what the future of the upper P5s and D2s and 1AAs look like. I don't know what it's going to be. But right now, at least for me, right now where I'm at, I'm happy.
Yeah, I think that I think
it's a great point.
Unique opportunity in development, which I think is really cool. Like I agree with you on that. There's so much to do with now at the higher levels with transferring in and out, and you're at a place where you can actually get guys for 4 years and work on not just football wise, but developing them as people, and so they're ready for they already know, a lot of them, what field they're going to go into, which is pretty cool. Like they might be in different departments, but they know what general area they're going to be in, and they know what their direction is, which is obviously speaks to why you got 100% placement rate. These are guys that are coming in there, and they already kind of have an idea of what they want to do, direction they're going to go into. So, as you get to develop them as players and as people, they're going to continue to grow. And I think that is a really great, unique situation, because I was just on, I played at UConn, and I was just on this podcast yesterday or 2 days ago called Husky Talk. And one of the things we talked about there, the guy's bringing back he's interviewing a lot of the older players, from 80s, 90s, early 2000s, and talking to him. And one of the themes of the people from that era that played in those eras was that our school, they developed us, and it was a family atmosphere, and one of the things that he talked about was that in this newer era, even places, even though we're I don't know what we'd be, I guess we would be considered a group of five, but group of five, even they have a hard time developing. I know, because UConn basketball is so big time, and our football we can't get it right, Derek. I know why you're laughing. Sorry, but we they can't build the atmosphere. They're having a hard time building the atmosphere, and with transferring it makes it harder and all that kind of stuff. Whereas when I played in the 90s, like, obviously we wanted to win and we won a lot of games, but we had that atmosphere. We were developed. We knew for the most part, even though we were on scholarship, we were going to go and get a career in something else, right? And I think that you're right. It is probably one of the very few last pure forms of football there is. And it wasn't until I was on that conversation yesterday, I was really like, yeah, I guess that's really one of the biggest changes. The
locker room.
Yeah, that you had at CW Post. That I'm sorry, I keep saying CW Post, but that's
okay. That's where I was. I'm good with that.
That's what it is to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gotta be hard. That's like a whole different thing. Like, how did you guys graduated from a school that doesn't even have like a name anymore? It's like, what the hell? Like, I get it.
But CW Post to me means football tradition. That they were a great
100%. It means Division
that's
II
why
high
I
level
say it.
ball.
I say it because that was a powerhouse D2 program, like literally deep into the playoffs, possible opportunity to win a national championship. That's who they were, just growing up in the Northeast and everything. But the same thing with, so that whole that feeling we had playing in college at the levels above D3, that's changed dramatically. Like how guys feel about their school, like the fact that you would want to call it CW Post because that meant something to you, right?
That pride.
That meant something to you, that pride, and I think that a really cool thing that you're able to really start to build and develop on, and it's really, really, really cool, and I'm excited to see how it all continues to evolve over the next several years. A couple final things. What do you want people to know about what you're doing? Kind of final thoughts with the program and as we kind of wind up the podcast.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is I really want parents and student athletes to know that this program is like the biggest hidden secret in New York. I think we get confused a lot with other schools locally, like KP, that we're 100% military school, and it, for whatever reason, it confuses athletes to even take a look and try to come and see the place. I think that's very important. I also think that, I would love for the athletes to know that if you give us an opportunity to work with you and work together, the experience that you're going to have here for your 4 years of playing college ball is going to be very, very good. All right, we're going to have this program running just as if it's a Division II, 1AA, or a P5 school. All right, the demands for what we're going to ask of you is going to be absolutely the same. The teams that we're going to play against is going to be high level competition, and if it's done the right way, within the first year, we should be bowl eligible. We should have an opportunity to hopefully do something within the playoff systems in the very, very near future. But you're going to get a coach that's going to be dedicated to the game of football, that loves the game of football. But more importantly, I take so much pride in developing young athletes. All right, my door is an open door policy. I want to make sure that they're good mentally along with physically. I want to make sure that you guys know that it's not just always a conversation about ball. It could be about school, it could be about life, any of those things. And also through and through, when you leave the program, the connection to me, the connection to Maritime is going to be one of the greatest things that you've ever experienced. There's not a lot of schools out right now. I don't care if it's Power 5 schools. I don't care if it's Michigan or Wisconsin. There's not a lot of schools that can say that they're going to give you the opportunity at almost 100% job placement. There's not a lot that can do it. Obviously, we are in a very different job market, all right? But the market that we're in, it's global. Okay, yeah. We're talking not United States. We're talking global market. So if you're looking to change your life, you're looking to, create wealth greater than you've seen, probably if you haven't come from a lot of wealth, this is like the golden ticket to do so. Mm-hmm. And the football part of it is just the enjoyable. right? You're gonna enjoy, being a part of that. But in closing, man, I just want to say, if you are a part of it, if you do come to SUNY Maritime as your school for 4 years, you're going to get a true dedicated program and dedicated coach that's going to be looking forward to developing you into the greatest person that you can be.
Coach, thank you so much for coming. That was fantastic. I really, that 100% job placement to me, people always talk about graduation rates and, oh, we have a 97% graduation rate. Nobody has a 100% job placement rate, and that's a unique thing. And I think you nailed it on the head too. Globally, right? I mean, that's why you have international business and trade, right? Because when you're on the seas, you're trading globally, not just within the United States. You're trading globally around the world, and the business opportunities there. People don't realize how big, things like shipping and logistics and
no clue.
I mean, some of the biggest companies in the world are in those things. And, people think about it as just those big cargo ships going on board. Look at the name on that's a $1 billion company. They don't realize that, and that the opportunities that are there, not just obviously commercial, but obviously also public jobs as well. Right. So awesome stuff. I can't thank you enough for coming on. I learned a ton today. And that's just how I am. I enjoy learning about programs and coaches like yourself and what you're doing. But I can't thank you enough for coming on today.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys' time. I value you guys' time. I understand the importance of the platform. I love the fact that you're using it in a positive light. And I look forward to being on more if you guys will have me. I'd love to.
Absolutely. Coach, appreciate you taking the time, man. Really.
And then after the season, then we could break down the systems you're running.
Yes.
It'll be out then. But until then, sit back and wait. We'll figure it out.
Coach, enjoy, man. Good luck with everything.
All right,
and
Coach, have a great
we'll talk
day.
to you. We'll keep in touch.
All right, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
All right, that was great. That was fantastic.
A lot of eye-opening stuff, dude.
Really, really great stuff. Learned a ton of things about the program, and like he said, it was a place that gets confused with different places.
100%.
And you really cleared up. Like, I honestly, in between, when you would ask a question, or something, like I had my I had my SUNY Maritime College thing open, and I'm looking at the facilities.
Dude, gorgeous, right?
Yeah, because I didn't look before we started.
Dude, I pulled it up when he said, "Oh, right on the water." I was like,
wow.
I mean, we're talking right on the water.
Yes.
And then, behind the Jumbotron, like, you see the bridges. Like,
yes, I see the bridges.
It's a lot like, like a Wagner a little bit, but like that's on a whole different, like, I mean, what a phenomenal, like, you know what I mean? Like when you're talking, I mean, it might not be whatever type facility, but like field wise view, like I'm looking at some of the teams they play and I'm, looking at it going, oh, which is, the conference that they're in, like, yeah, there's a couple tough teams and stuff like that. But, some of these places I've seen, some of them, not so much or whatever, but, their facilities, just that in itself would appease somebody to be like, oh, I get to play like here.
I have to say, like, my favorite, like a few years ago, I visited when I was still an agent. I was recruiting a player that was in the Naval Academy. And he was I think he was their dive back. And when we went there, one of the things that struck me was like their practice field was on the water.
Yeah,
on
dude.
The water.
Crazy.
Like, wow, this is it was really cool. And I when I went through the recruiting process, like if I had seen some of those things,
correct.
Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with West Point. Like I had been to West Point.
Oh God, dude.
But nobody. Yeah, but no one. I'll tell you this: I could have went to West Point, but nobody. I really never got taken around West Point. I was up there
amazing.
I was up there for track meets and stuff. But I never went.
Right, that's different. That's
different. You're just there to compete. You don't really look at anything. So,
right.
but when you get to see places, and maybe it's just an older person to me, you start to appreciate. But I think when prospects could see certain things, it kind of starts to connect for them, and it connects the dots. But
especially, and then you're talking about some of the other things too, like he doesn't have to worry about NIL nonsense or any of that, right? Like, you're not talking about guys like, hey, I'm going to go there and then I'm going to transfer out. Like, no, like, you're going to have 4 years of pretty much the same roster, development, do all that kind of stuff. And then, like, that's not what college football is now. It's just not, looking at the teams they play, right? Mass Maritime and Merchant Marine and Norwich, which has a military, like, to it. Like, they're all
they play RPI, maybe WPI,
right.
or RPI,
WPI they play,
RPI.
MIT, Salve, Coast Guard Academy, right? Springfield College, like, those good
by the way,
D3s.
that's just a fun schedule from a campuses you visit.
Dude, like, come on, man. Look, Salve, you know how that is. We're talking Rhode Island, like, gorgeous. I mean, Union College, Anna Maria, like, these are good looking. I mean, look, it's a nice Division III conference with, like teams. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then, and then, he can go and do and separate what, look, you got there late, so it's kind of like hit the ground running and go, I think but I do think that one of the things that he did is that, the retention of certain coaches and then bringing in other guys, smart move on his part, right? Because, like you said, the intricacies of this type of school,
SUNY school,
in terms,
right.
They know the ins and the outs, right? Like, hey, do this, do that. That can help him now move forward. And I wish him all the success, but I don't know. I don't think, and I give him a lot of credit for even applying to a place like that, because who really, like, guys nowadays, like, they don't want to take those jobs, but so kudos to him. I think he'll do well. I hope he does well. Looks good.
Absolutely. All right, let's get off, and I think we're back on tomorrow, right? 10.
Yeah, tomorrow we got Eric Mealy, special teams coordinator, UNC. So
that'll be a big one.
That should be good.
All right, cool, awesome.